It's 12 minutes. So welcome everybody to Business Relationships Matter Network, BRM Network. The spotlight speaker today and is Valerie Saindon of OMNITIDE. Valerie is a marketing mentor and client acquisition specialist, originally from Quebec in Canada, and I've had an enjoyable chat with her about that. But she's been here in Australia for 10 years, so I think we can say that she's an Australian just about. We can claim her as one of our own. And she established OMNITIDE approximately 7 years ago and helps businesses to grow their client base through authentic result-driven strategies. And in talking to her, I'm really impressed by what she does and how she goes about it and her commitment to that way of doing business. And she believes that 80% is better than doing nothing at all. Just a couple of other little facts about Valerie is that she combines actionable tactics with understanding of under universal laws to help clients attract and retain high quality clients. And she has a unique approach that they're building meaningful and lasting connections with their audience. And you all know me, I'm a real passionate person regarding customer relationship management from that point of view, so it certainly resonates with me. And Valerie is also a qualified yoga instructor, I believe. So maybe if you could get us to do some stretching exercises afterwards as well with you and Carolyn, get a dual session. But Valerie, look, I'll stop sharing. I'll pass it over to you. You've got around about 10 to 12 minutes and plus around about 3 minutes for questions and answers. I'll keep an eye on the time. So it's all yours.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Russ, for the introduction and from going over my socials so you can share a bit more about me. And just making sure you guys can see my slide.
Can do.
Okay, absolutely. So welcome everyone and thank you for being here. As Russ said, I specialize in client acquisition marketing. So today we're going to talk about a very short overview of some of the client acquisition essentials that you may want to look into when you're doing your marketing. So welcome. I usually talk a little bit about me, but Ross did a really good job to talk about me, so I'm not gonna spend much time here, but I have a strong passion to help small business to medium-sized business to get their marketing working for them and not so they don't have to waste money into marketing, because it is quite overwhelming when we have a look at the spectrum of activities that can happen. So that my job is to help them find clarity and find the unique thing that's going to work for their business. So today I really want to talk about three things. It's really about how you can generate high quality leads and consistently in your business. So obviously we're going to really scratch the surface, but it's about understanding what are the key tactics that you can use to bring a steady flow of business. It's all about, as I just said, maximizing your return on investment. So observing what are the strategies that if you use these, you can leverage and get more impact, more result for the same amount of time and resources. And it's all about getting results and as fast as we can, because as I said, it can be overwhelming and maybe we don't know always what to work on when it comes to marketing. So we really want to start identifying what's the thing that's going to give rapid growth for your client acquisition or your lead generation effort. So I work with all my clients that I work with. I work with a foundation or stages we can call, and these are three stages that I always look at to identify if one of these are broken. Well, the client acquisition is not going to work. The number one is the traffic. Traffic is another word for maybe lead generation. If you are used to hear lead generation, is when we're talking, that's the first stage, and that's when we're talking about how many people, how many they're not leads, so traffic, audience, whatever words that resonate with you, you're bringing whether to your website, to your landing page, and how many people just coming to you. So that's the first thing that needs to be fixed when it comes to your client acquisition, and understanding that there's different type of traffic. We're talking could be organic traffic. Anything organic could be networking event, could be any Google SEO, could be social media, word of mouth. There can be paid traffic. So we're talking about any times you push money into a platform to give you some sort of traffic and results. So it could be, again, Google ads, Facebook or LinkedIn, any social media ads, or any directory that you're paying to get traffic from. There could be some referral or partnership traffic. So that's when you get affiliates, people selling for you, or referrals, that type of thing. So the goal at this stage is really to attract as many qualified visitors possible to you. And then we move them on to the next step, which is the funnel. So once we've attracted traffic, it's really important to be able to capture these visitors, to be able to convert them from traffic to lead. So by using a funnel, that's when you transfer from people, we call it traffic you don't own, to traffic that you own. So traffic you don't own, when I refer to that, we're talking about any maybe social media followers or connection you have. You don't really own that traffic, meaning that if the platform closed tomorrow, shut down, or change the algorithm, which happen all the time, you may not lose access to these people. So you don't really own that traffic. The goal of the funnel is to move them to traffic that you own, so move them onto your database. So then you have access to them as you want, as when you want. You can reach out to them via email, or could be direct mail, could be text message, phone call, or any other way that you remarketing to them. So really the funnel is really the capturing of information, becoming a lead. And a well-designed funnel will guide your prospect through the journey from awareness to decision-making, to the moment they move to the next stage, which that's when they say yes to your offer. And we're talking about sales or conversion. This is where all the two first steps of all the effort you put into the two first steps comes to fruition. They become a client of yours, or they have a transaction with you, and they become either clients or customers. Now, these three steps are very essential, and they work together, meaning that if you take one out, if you take traffic out, you can have the best funnel in the world and the best sales process, but you're not getting any clients coming through the door, and vice versa. A lot of clients come to us because we do a lot of lead generation for our clients, and they come to us, they want traffic, and we're giving them traffic, a lot of traffic, for a very cheap price. But the problem is, if they have traffic in a funnel, but they don't have a good sales process, then there's no point. There's a leak in the funnel, and then you're not going to convert people to become clients. So that's just an example on why these three stages needs to work together. So I'm going to do a very brief overview of each stage of the journey, and give you some insights and feedback on it. So traffic, as I said, you can bring a lot of traffic, and if you're not converting them, well, there's no point. But for those of you that are not familiar with the term traffic, if you have your marketing funnel, which we'll talk about a bit later, traffic is basically the arrow, things coming into the funnel. So this is they say the lifeblood of your marketing. This will give you visibility. This is when we talk about generating leads. This is where we talk about business growth. So in short, it really fuels your entire process. Some lead generation misconception you may have heard of, and it's important to be aware of. So when I use traffic or lead generation, I'm talking about the same thing here. First of all, you need to understand that lead generation, it's not one strategy fits all, or not one size fits all. It's really important to understand that whether you are maybe learning online, or you're testing, if it works for a business, might not work for yours, or you need to adapt to your business model and your offers, and you need to adapt your copy to it. So that's something that you really want to be mindful of. Understanding as well that lead generation is not instant. It's not because you start paying money to whatever platform you're going to pay money to. If you're doing paid traffic, if you give money to Meta, it doesn't mean that straight away you're going to get results. There's a learning process to it, as we are trying to give results from the day one, because we're working often with other factors such as algorithm or any other platforms, it needs to be considered that it's a long-term process. So we usually recommend like to test a lead generation for a year, but minimum 3 to 6 months when you are testing lead generation methods. Lead generation is expensive. It doesn't have to be. It can be, and depending on what platform and who you're trying to target, but there are ways to generate traffic through organic, meaning that you don't have to pay the platform. It's just literally your time or your staff time to put the lead generation in place, and they can bring result as fast. But it's either, usually when you do lead generation, you either invest your time or your money or both, and that's when you get results. And it's not a set and forget. So I often get clients asking us to set series of ads, and then that's they just want to engage us to do that, which we can definitely do, but it's not really something I recommend if you are going to work on lead generation. As I said, it's also it's a constant testing and tweaking. So what that means, if we set a lead, and we do that sometimes for clients, we set a series of ads, and maybe the lead might come up as, just to make it a round number, $100 per lead. After a couple of months, we might be able to go from $100 to maybe $30 per lead, meaning that the same amount spent, clients get 3 times the amount of leads. So that's why you kind of don't want to make it a set and forget, but always continually working on it. And also, it doesn't end once the lead is captured. There's things that needs to happen after you capture your leads to convert it. So that's in a nutshell some misconception and things to know. There, as I said earlier, there's 4 ways to generate traffic. I'm just going to touch upon one today, and it's just organic content, because it's free, it's just your time, and then you can invest into that and get better at it and then start generating traffic. And then what I did is I just put some example of screenshot of clients we've been working on. We'd had quite impressive increase in terms of reach and visit. And these accounts, they're not clients that have thousands and thousands of followers. They're all small accounts. So we're talking about anything below 1,000 connection or even 500 connection. And that just to show that putting a little bit of effort, you can really start reaching out more people. And just this client had 50 profile visit in a month. So that's a big increase for them to get more result. And again, just some example of that, just to give you a bit of a, I guess, a little push you towards doing your organic content. So in the interest of times, I know I'm on the time here, so I'm just not gonna go too deep into that and move on to the next stage.
3 minutes.
3 minutes?
2 to 3 minutes.
Okay, perfect. All right, I'll fast forward. The next part is the funnel. So why do you need a funnel? It's help you capture your visitors, as I said, from traffic you don't own to traffic that you own. It helps you maximize your lead conversion, so get more conversion per lead that you are getting. And also it really gives you measurable insights. So you can really see what part of your funnel people are dropping out and where you're missing on opportunities. I like to work with the marketing funnel to make it super simple. If you are familiar with the customer awareness journey, I like to work with the same type of terminology: awareness, consideration, purchase, and loyalty. There's obviously a lot of variation of that, but that's just to give you an idea that more we get people into the funnel to move from awareness to loyalty, the better it is. Moving to the last part of the sales process is the sales process, aka conversion. This is when we're talking towards the end of the funnel, when we want to get people to convert and becoming a client and then a repeat client to increase our customer lifetime value. So we don't want to miss this. And that's the thing that I often see when we get hired for lead generation. We don't want to underestimate that, because there's a lot of lost opportunities that happen here. Marketing and sales are very two different skill sets, but they need to work together. And that's the thing that we're trying to do the most with our clients, is joining how can marketing and sales work together to create more results. So it will help you not to have inconsistent results, to see where is the actual fault. So it's often you might, if you work with sales and marketing, you see they kind of sometimes blame each other. So we're trying to make sure that everyone work together, and it just brings more efficiency and a higher conversion rate. So what should you focus on is the question. It's about identifying for you which part of the journey is broken. Personally, when I work with clients, the first thing I look at is the middle one, funnel. Then we look at the sales. And then once we got this sorted, then we look at the bringing traffic into it. But everything, like, I'm not saying that's what you need to do. Everything is a case by case. Conclusion, if you want to put in the chat, I'd like to finish. There's one thing you've learned today, or one thing that you'd like to focus on after you've listened to me talking. Please put in the chat. I like to keep to know what's the thing that resonated with you the most, or what's the thing you want to implement or dive more into it. And if you'd like to hear me talk more about these, well, on Friday, I've got my monthly client acquisition event. Fiona came to that a couple of weeks ago, where I go into these, but I take an hour to explain more about all the stage and the best practices. And yeah, so if you're interested, I'll put the link in the chat. And I run these twice a month to help, just dive a little bit deeper into that. And that's me, I think, pretty much on time. Back to you, Ross.
No, I had it there. It was just taking a bit of little sweet time to do it. Thank you, Valerie, so much for that. That was a really interesting discussion. Has anybody got any questions that they want to ask? There, just raise your hand, either your physical hand. I'll stop the share now.
Hey, Ross.
Yep. Valerie, can you stop the share, please?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I'm trying to okay, there it is. Sorry, it's quite small, the button.
John, you were going to ask a question.
Yeah, thank you, Valerie. Yeah, great presentation in that limited amount of time. You did really well. Would it work for big dollar items? Like 500,000, 5 million?
I think you need to have a look at your process, and yeah, the answer is yes. It would have a look. It would work, but you need to adjust to the buyers. Obviously, you probably know that stuff for the buyers' buying process, if I can say.
Yeah.
So it's always about, and that's where when we talk about the last part of the funnel is the sales process. It's really about our sales process, but also understanding what's the buyer sales process and how can we help them on each side of their process. So I like to reverse engineering for the big, well, for any clients really. We have a look at what's the end goal that we want to get to, and how can we reverse engineering the process to get to that. So what would be what would the once we've got the I guess the offer that you want to sell at the end, then we have a look, okay, what's the funnel to bring people into that? And then after that, we had, okay, well, where are we going to find the traffic to fill the funnel to get people to the offer?
You do a lot of this through social media, like you mentioned Meta.
Yeah.
How do you see? This is one thing that I have trouble understanding. I mean, I'm doing social media advertising at the moment, but not with great results, I must say. Trying to get better. But how do you tackle something where they constantly change the algorithms? I mean, you know, how you might have the perfect formula which works this week.
Yeah. So we're talking about paid advertising, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing with paid advertising, I mean, my staff and I have combined experience of 20 years of running ads, and it's sometimes still like we're banging our head against the wall type of situation. But with the Meta ads, if you have something that works really well and it stopped working for some reason, it could be, not necessarily I will have a look at your campaign, but it could be something we call like audience fatigue. People needs to be remarketed, but finding different ways to saying the same thing. So let's say your lead magnet was a video that they need to watch, whatever. But maybe your next campaign, it's still the same message, but maybe you'll send them a quiz where they need to fill a couple of answers to get them. So it's about always changing the angle. And yes, the answer is yes, it's tiring, but that's the beauty of working with social media. It's always changing the angle that you're going to send the same message. So the package.
And how do you guys work? Do you work on a monthly fee, or do you work on a campaign, or how does it work?
Yeah, we work on a retainer. So what we decide is we decide what's the outcome that we want to get. Then we look at what's the budget realistically we can push, and we can have a look at, okay, what's the result we can get with that budget and the outcome. And then we work, as I said, we usually ask for a minimum of 3 months because we're working with the algorithm. As you know, we put something to test. It takes 2 weeks to get some result in Facebook or whatever platform, and then we shut down the one that's not working, and then we do the second round of tests. So it doesn't matter how fast we could work, we're still working with the algorithm, which takes time. So that's, yeah.
What sort of dollar spend do you think you could spend? Like if you were let's have something here when nobody's in. Let's say a solar business advertising their wares. What would they be expected to spend per month to get a decent result?
Well, that's a question that is a bit more complicated than that. And I'm happy to have a meeting with you, because we need to look at who are we trying to target, and what's the geographic. If you're trying to target solar in Mackay, then the population is quite small. With a small budget, we'll be able to do the whole population in not so long. Where if you're trying to do that in Sydney, which 9 million population, we'll need a big budget to be able to reach out to everyone and to start remarketing to everyone. So it really depends of what's the offer and who you want to target. And then I can say, okay, well, I estimate you should spend, I don't know, like
X amount of dollars,
per day for the next 6 months, and then,
Thank you. Thank you very much.
No worries.
Thanks, Johnny. Does anybody else got questions I'd like to ask? We're coming up to the top of the hour, so just one last question would be really good. Has anybody got there? Okay, I've just got one. The lost opportunities, where they lost most? Where do they lose the most?
It really depends. I find, because people come to me because I'm a marketing agency, I'd say the lost opportunities reside a lot in the sales process not being fine-tuned. And that's why I think I had a chat with you, Ross, about that. In the last 2 years, we started adding more that component of sales, because we can bring hundreds, and we did thousands of leads to our clients, and they might say, well, you're not bringing good leads, which, we'll take responsibility if we're not bringing good leads, but out of 1,000, there would be a few good leads. So then it's about the lost opportunities. If they're not converting the leads, is first, I don't know if it's because you're not good at selling, or I don't know if it's because I'm not bringing you the right leads. And that's where the big lost opportunity is, because they're spending a lot of money with a platform, but we can't really get to the bottom of why they're not getting results. So from that perspective, because I've been a marketing agency, and that's why I told you we started bringing the sales into it, because that was where we identified there was the most lost opportunities.
Okay, thank you very much, and Valerie, thank you very much for providing us with that presentation today. That's been fantastic.
I think Kim had a question or something to say. Maybe you have an answer for me.
I'll just end the recording here for now, and then Kim can come off mute.